Golfcast, presented by Bones Brothers Media.
All right, this is the Bones DK Golfcast. I am the host, Bones DK. We don't have Edge today, but we do have Wildman, and I'm excited that we have Wildman because there's big news overnight with Dustin Johnson. I'm getting text all over the place. Saudi League, $150 million. Wildman, your boy DJ, what's going on here? Fill me in.
Yeah, in what we would consider shocking news, he's joined the Greg Norman-backed, Saudi-backed Live League. And I was thinking to myself, like, there's got to be a massive stack of cash for him to do something like this. And turns out, rumors are, he's been guaranteed $150 million to join this tour. So let's call it like it is, right? Life's about money. Everything's about business. If you're against this move, let's just say you're not our kind of guy, right? Like you're a golf historian that thinks he owes anything to anybody other than his family. So I say good move. I think, you know, if you were making that move in any other walk of life, you'd be lauded for it. And if you're, you know, against this move and you think that traditions and trophies matter, well, you ain't living in 2022.
That's a pretty strong take because I've been getting pretty strong feedback on the other side. People are ripping DJ apart, saying he's a traitor, he's going over to Saudi, he's backing people that, you know, kill people or whatever. Does that affect the decision at all?
You know, dude, so that is an extreme piece of misinformation that the sheep and the public all think. The fact of the matter is this is an 8-event schedule. Half of those events, 4 of them are right here in America. Portland, Oregon, Chicago, Illinois, Boston. There's another one. I can't remember. There's one in London. There's one in Thailand. So the idea that he's going to be like out in the desert in the Middle East with guys with assault rifles walking on the course is just nonsense. This is backed by a major champion. The money seems to be coming from Saudi Arabia. But, I mean, you know, Mickelson ran his big mouth, and it's there's been misinformation everywhere. I say, if you were offered $150 million, would you do it? Oh, and by the way, you get to work half the time in America? Yeah, I'm in.
I would do a lot for just $150,000, let alone $150 million. So, yeah, I can see what you're saying there. Money talks, you know, big news. We'll see what happens here with DJ. Obviously, DJ isn't playing in this tournament, the Memorial Tournament. Let's get right into it, Draftkings. That's why we are here. Man, big field this week. Surprised to not see Scotty. So we got Jon Rahm at the top price guy, and everyone remembers Jon Rahm had to get disqualified last year because of COVID. He would have ran away with the tournament, so Patrick Cantlay ended up getting the win. So if Rahm would have won that tournament, he would have had back-to-back wins here at the Memorial. So he's leading off $11,100, I think rightfully so. And then you have Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay, who has 2 wins here as well. Morikawa, Xander rounding off the $10,000 range. So to me, it's pretty easy to play Jon Rahm this week. I don't know about single entry, $200 single playing Jon Rahm, but if you're playing a couple GPPs, you got to get some shares of him as well. And Patrick Cantlay, pretty good form right now. I do like him just with the course history overall. But, you know, those are my top 2 guys here. Who are you liking in this 10K range?
Yeah, there are some big names conspicuously missing here. Scheffler, Thomas. You know, you'd think that this tournament would get everybody in it as it has in the past. But you know, don't forget, too, that the Rahm withdrawal last year really changed the history of the PGA Tour, because he would have been the number 1 player he would have won the event. He would have been the number 1 player going into the FedEx Cup, in all likelihood won the FedEx Cup. On the other hand, it's given Cantlay another win here. Now, not to say his course history isn't good, but it gave him the FedEx Cup, gave him another win at the Memorial. So very interesting stuff coming in here. But let's talk about the course briefly. This is Jack Nicklaus's place, Muirfield Village in Columbus. We were just talking off the air. If there's any cities worse than Columbus on the planet, we had a couple. Some of them were in Ohio. Most of them were in that region, but
Cleveland.
yeah, Cleveland. But no, this course sets up like a major. This is how Nicklaus wants it. I said this last year on this podcast that Nicklaus, loves to talk about how difficult the conditions were in the 70s and 80s and how he's God as it comes to golf. So he set this up with like 5-inch rough, lengthened the course a little bit. It plays a lot like a major in terms of the greens, the green speeds, the penal roughs off the tee. So you're going to have to be the cream of the crop in all likelihood to lift a trophy here, as we've seen in the past. And so we're looking at guys that we think can play in major type conditions. Clearly, Rahm can do that.
Yeah, I mean, Rahm sticks out right away because remember he was complaining in the beginning of the year that the course was too easy. He wants it to be more difficult. So just mentally, Rahm going into this, I believe thinks he's the best player, right? And that's just someone you want to back, is someone that believes they're going to win this tournament. And he wants to. He's out to be the number one player in the world. Rahm wants it. And then you have Rory McIlroy. I know he's playing amazing right now, but I don't know how bad he really wants this tournament right now. Patrick Cantlay has good history, but then you got into Morikawa. I mean, how bad does Morikawa want it right now? I like his price at $10,400. And then you have Xander Schofley. I believe Xander is a little too high priced this week, $10,200. I get where people are coming from when they like him this week. He has good stats and irons right now. But $10,200, man, that is an expensive price for Xander, especially when you got Cameron Smith and Jordan Spieth down there, even Victor Hovland.
Well, I want to remind you of this, too. The 2020 workday was played at this course, at the Memorial. So it went back-to-back weeks at Memorial 2 years ago through the COVID pandemic. And if you recall who won that event in 2020, it was last year's runner-up here, Colin Morikawa. And we just said, can he win majors? Can you play well at major-type courses? I'd say so, right? 2 wins, a slew of other good finishes. He's definitely a guy to watch. And a guy that sets up well for this course. So, the putter has been dreadful for him.
Yeah, look at these putting stats here.
It's so funny because if you look at his stats and then you go down to 9,900 and you look at Cam Smith, very similar. Now, here's a question about Cam Smith I want to give you. Can he play well at majors? Well, sure. Final group at the Masters a couple of times. Can he win big events? Won the Players' Championship. Now, if we say Cameron Smith, we say best putter in the world, right? Best putter in the world. Well, listen to this. He has lost strokes often with his putter lately, which is sort of an oxymoron of what we talk about with him. The last 4 times Cameron Smith has gained a single stroke putting, he has no worse than a finish of 4th place. 2 wins, a 3rd, and a 4th. That's the last 4 events he's gained a single stroke putting. So, terrible course history here. But where he is right now, recent form and his ascension to an elite player, are you type course? I'll take it all day long.
Yeah, you are talking about his course history here. He has a 65th cut, 68th cut. But I figure Cameron Smith is kind of a new player this year. I mean, you can't really, that's just history, right? He's a new person, kind of like Sam Burns. Sam Burns probably doesn't have great history at every course either, but now he's winning every tournament. Same with Max Homa. These guys are young, new players. So I'm not looking too much into history here, even though this is a course that is played at the same course every year, and it does seem like a couple guys do pop up every time at this tournament, like Jordan Spieth and these guys. But I like Cameron Smith as a sneaky play here, especially because early projections have him lowest owned next to Hovland. So Hovland and Cameron Smith are being kind of overlooked right now. I can see Hovland being a little overlooked with his around the green game, but Cameron Smith, man, I kind of see him as a sneaky play this week. $9,900, that's still a great price.
Here's another thing I want to add to that. The guy right below him is Jordan Spieth.
Yeah.
The four par fives on this course are the 4 easiest holes on the course. So you're going to have to take advantage of them. Spieth is ranked number 1 in our projection in par 5 scoring. So he's a guy you look at, right? Also, remember this. Last year at this event, guess who was the highest priced golfer on Draftkings?
Who was it?
It was Jordan Spieth.
Oh, wow.
What's he done since then? He's won twice. and now he's falling down the rankings. So he's a very interesting guy to look at here. Again, number one par 5 scoring, good finishes here. Number one DraftKings priced here last year, and he didn't have 2 wins going into that event. So perhaps some extreme value here. But I expect him to get a lot of ownership. And when you get Cameron Smith in a big event where the greens are difficult and short game needs to be relied upon, it just seems like he's the man. And if you're getting him at like 5% across some contests, I mean, how can you pass that up?
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. He's a great pivot off Spieth. And you know what? Since whoever's watching, I'm going to give a little preview of projections here. So come over here, and it looks like Xander Schofley right now is getting the most love next to Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth. And I'll tell you what, we weren't really looking at Rory or Xander. I'm leaning more Akawa, Cameron Smith, and Spieth here. So I'm liking the projections so far. Hopefully everyone jumps off Xander or on Xander and he does not make the cut. Xander, is he good enough? I mean, listen, he's going to get a T15 probably, right? At $10,200. I mean, I need to have a winner out of there. And if I'm paying for anyone, it's either Rahm or Colin Morikawa in that 10K range. And then we come down to the 9K range, and yeah, Jordan Spieth. This is where we see the value here. Obviously, Cameron Smith, Jordan Spieth. Big Z. I'm a big Z guy. I'm a big Z guy. But I don't know, man. His putter just still scares me, even though his price is great at $9,400. I think Hovland's price at $9,300 seems a little low, but again, he sucks around the green. I don't know. Those two guys are I consider about the same player. And then you have Matthew Fitzpatrick, Matthew Fitzmagic, due for a win here, man. Great history, great recent form, and Shane Lowry rounding off the 9K range. To me, I'm almost starting my build with Matthew Fitzpatrick and Shane Lowry to start my whole build. Both these guys, I think, have a serious chance to win. I've been playing these guys all year, and they've been paying off. And you're talking about major-like conditions. These two guys show up in the top 5 almost in all the tournaments this year. I love these prices. I'm sure, they're going to garner a lot of ownership. But, man, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Shane Lowry, I'm torn between which one, and I think I'm going to just start with both. Where are you leaning with this range?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the guy you mentioned first in this range, and it is Zalatoris, man. Yeah, sure, he's got a couple of missed cuts recently, but when we're talking about ball strike, it's like Harris English last year going into the U.S. Open. If you recall, he bogeyed the 72nd hole to drop from like 2nd to 13th in the event leading into the U.S. Open. But we had already decided Harris English is our guy at the U.S. Open, and he paid off. I feel the same way about Zalatoris. I mean, he was just in a playoff at a major where ball striking was critical, where hitting fairways was absolutely necessary, and everybody keeps ragging on his putter. Well, there's some similarities to Augusta here. He's got a second and another good finish. He's now got a PGA championship. We just talked about major-like conditions. I mean, look at this guy in the biggest events. I'll take one of the best ball strikers in the world. He's gained a little bit of weight, added about 20 yards to his tee ball. And if you watch the PGA championship, certainly you saw him just, gripping and ripping and, tearing it down the middle. Now, what are we going to do? Are we going to knock the guy for having the biggest letdown of his career, losing a major championship playoff, and then missing a cut the next week? I'm not going to knock him too much for that. I'll back the best ball strikers. I'm backing Zalatoris here.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to have to get a Zalatoris lineup in now. And this week, I'm definitely entering multiple $20 lineups because $300,000 up at top. I'm looking for that top prize, man. $300,000. We're due. We're due for that $300,000. We have a couple small ones in the $200 singles. We're due for that GPP win, and I feel like it's coming this week, especially with the guys we like this week. And let's go down to the 8K range. Sung J M, Cameron Young, Max Homa, Davis Riley. I love all 4 of those guys. Tell me a knock on either of them, any one of those guys. Then you have Daniel Berger, Connors, Neiman, Answer, where I think a lot of these guys are not going to get high owned. So probably good pivots on those top 4 guys because I know a lot of people like Cameron Young, Homa, and Riley. Obviously, Neiman answer. And then you have sneaky plays with Keegan Bradley, the Jackson Hole professional, and Mito Pereira at the very end. So, obviously, I'm leaning Homa in this range, 8,700. I believe you are too. I think Davis Riley is the real deal. He was roommates with JT. I think he's a young guy that's actually just showing up and is a great golfer, just needed his chance. And then Joaquin Neiman. So who are you leaning in this range?
Yeah, I mean, I do like Homa. I also would my piece of advice is don't put too much weight into one win on the PGA Tour. Like Homa has won here, okay? Or, not at this course, but he's won recently. So that's big. But Cameron Young has been on the doorstep. And you could argue it's just as hard to finish second in an event as it is to finish first in an event. You know, I mean, first in an event. Like, it might just be one putt or one bad break that causes you to finish second rather than first. Cameron Young has these finishes. Davis Riley has this finish, losing in a playoff to Sam Burns, who is arguably the hottest golfer in the world right now. I do like Cameron Young, though. I think, I just told you, ball striking is critical here. Getting long off the tee is going to help. We watched him a couple of weeks ago pull out the driver and mash it like 379 in the middle of the fairway. And he was right there knocking on the door, had like a 12-footer to join the playoff at the PGA Championship. What can you say about this guy that you don't like in terms of ball striking? Feels like he's due to win. Feels like he might be the 2022 version of 2020 Scotty Scheffler and Zalatoris, maybe.
Yeah,
I like break through with just a couple of wins and do something big. And then I would also just say probably the most hated guy on this podcast is rating out third in my model, and it's Booger.
I already had my mouse hovered over his name right when you said. I didn't know who you were talking about. I was like, it has to be Booger.
Daniel, pick my Booger.
Yeah, Daniel Berger. I'm not on Daniel Berger. I'm not going to be on Daniel Berger. The two guys I'm looking at are the Chile guys, Joaquin Neiman and Mito. So, I keep finding myself getting that price discount on Mito because, going down to him because it saves you $300. Because, I mean, look at these finishes, man. I mean, just churning out top 25s and top 10s. Great performance at the PGA and Charles Schwab. His stats are there. He's an all-around good player, and we've been riding him for a long time, so it's hard to say no to Mito. And then you go over to Neiman here, pretty good finishes, but no top 5s or 10s. So why wouldn't you drop down to Mito there and save that $300? I'm big on Mito still, even though he's going to be high owned. I'm going to eat that chalk. I'm not going to miss on that Mito win. I think this course fits him well. And the only reason I like Neiman is because I think they both perform at similar courses. So if Mito is going to do well here, I expect Neiman to do well here, and he can pop off for a top 5 or a win at any point. So I think I see him as a sneaky play. I don't think he's getting that much ownership. I think everyone's going down to Mito there. So hammer Mito. Keegan Bradley is a great pivot off of Mito if you're trying to get off that ownership, and Joaquin Neiman. One other guy I wanted to ask you about was Corey Connors. I know a couple people were asking about him. What's your take on Corey Connors, Stevie Wildman?
I do like Corey Connors as well. I mean, had to cut at the PGA Championship, but I mean, leading up to that, it was really good form. And I mean, look, these guys aren't all Tiger Woods, right? Everybody misses cuts once in a while. It hurts that he did it in the best spot, but if you're going to put that much weight into him missing at the PGA, you should also put as much into him finishing in the top 5 at the Masters, right? Or top 8 maybe. I can't remember where he finished at the Masters. I know he was there.
6th place.
6th place. Okay, so I mean, Connors can do it, and he's a steady Eddie tee to green. I believe he's got a 9th here last year, maybe. So yeah, I think he's sort of just fallen out of goodwill here, good faith here amongst most of the crowd. Okay, he didn't finish 9th here last year, but yeah, tee to green player.
Yeah,
Neiman, by the way.
What was that?
I feel like Neiman and Pereira are actually like, their prices are probably accurate, but where they are, who they're surrounded by makes it a little inaccurate. Like, I think Neiman should be ahead of some of these mid to higher level 8K guys, like a Davis Riley, let's say, because Neiman's been there. Neiman's won. Neiman's been on the tour for a while. Seems like he's a little underpriced this week. I don't know if I love him because he, his game is straight off a tee, and he hasn't been playing that well off the tee. But he's certainly a guy that can pop.
I'll tell you what, I've made a few lineups already, about 10 in the $20, and I find myself having Neiman and Mito in the same lineup. So I'm going to be riding them hard this week, and then I'm going to do a few lineups without them completely, and then a few with just one of them in each one. So that's how I'm going to build my lineups this week. And I'm going to have a lot of Cam Young, a lot of Max Homa, and Riley, and then I also like him up there. That whole range, man, I'm having trouble with a single entry this week. I keep finding myself just depositing these $20 lineups. My bank's going to call me here soon for max entering $20 deposits. So, anyway, just keep moving on to the 7K range. Patty Reed, he's in really good form right now with a 5th and a 10th in his last 2 appearances here. Adam Scott's someone I like. Jason Day has some good history here. Aaron Wise, a big name, 9th place last year after 2 missed cuts here. So he's actually only 1 for 3 here. Could that be a trap? And then you come down here a little bit lower, who I don't like too much in the 7K range. I like Ryan Palmer down at 6,900. But Wildman, who do you like in this 7K range? I like Reed and Scott. Who are you liking?
Yeah. One of these guys sort of is a sore thumb, and he sticks out like a sore thumb down here. Patrick Reed, right? I mean, coming off a 7th with good history here in a grinders type course. He's won at Augusta. He's won many times on the PGA Tour. Short game matters around here with fast greens and long iron shots and, a lot of scrambling. And typically you give him an edge there when scrambling and short game is critical. So that is a low price for Patrick Reed. I'm not saying I love him, but certainly he should be more like 8,600. Than 79.
You almost have to play him at 7,900, man. Coming off a 7th place with really good history. His irons are there. He's good around the green, which you're going to need. He can putt. Obviously, his driver's a little shaky, but obviously he's doing something right now. So I love Patty Reed, 7,900. Who else do you like?
Yeah, I do like Aaron Wise as well. But I'm going to go with Chris Kirk and Siwoo Kim as guys that I would try to fit in. Kirk is rating out well for me. In every metric that I've run on Fantasy National. And, he kind of strings them together, doesn't he? Like, he'll have a 7th, a 14th, an 18th, a 7th, a 6th. And then he, obviously had a couple blips on the radar, but now he's coming off a 5th and a 15th. Playing really well. And a guy that I would expect to finish well is also, Siwoo Kim's just has the course history here. So
I'll ready.
Give Siwoo Kim a look.
Be ready for a lot of missed putts out of Kirk this week. I hope he does well. I'm going to play him as well. Just be ready.
I feel like I'm talking really fast today. I'm just chugging a cold brew as we're doing this.
Just all hyped up.
I had to have my blood taken this morning. So I've been fasting for 16 hours.
No food, just cold brew. Haven't eaten probably today.
Right. I'm just pumped full of caffeine.
I love this tournament, man. We went to this tournament back years ago, and we went to the practice round, me and Wildman. Tiger Woods was there, Rory McIlroy, Vijay Singh. I said something to Tiger. I think I said Mr. Woods or Mr. Singh, and they both turned around and shook my hand. I was about a 13-year-old, like with chubby face and crooked glasses. I was like, Mr. Singh, can I, But man, what a tournament that was. Also, Jim Furyk was there, and this is an embarrassing story I'm going to tell real quick. I thought he was from Pittsburgh, Jim Furyk. So when I was next to him, I was like, Pittsburgh kid! And he was like, what the hell are you yelling at, man? I'm from Philadelphia. So that was pretty funny. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm pretty embarrassed now. I thought you were from Pittsburgh. But what a tournament. Columbus, Ohio.
Pittsburgh died maybe, but here's another Tiger, Phil, Rory, and there was a 4th guy there. If you could guess that guy, I'd give you $100,000.
You were kind of breaking up there. So who was it? Rory, Phil, and Tiger?
Let me try this again. The skins game came through. It was Phil, Tiger, Rory, and a 4th golfer. And it's the first time that guy's been lumped in with these 3 in his life. I guarantee it. And it was all cut to the chase. It was Sean O'Hare.
Oh, wow. I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
What was O'Hare doing there?
Somehow Sean O'Hare got into that foursome, and I'm sure they cleaned his clock. But
That was
yeah,
awesome, man. Rory was like still young then. He was only like 18 years old. That was awesome. Great tournament to be at. But anyways, to round up the show here, anyone you like in the 6K range, I like Ryan Palmer, really good history, and Lipsky and Brandon Steele. Who else do you like, Wildman?
Yeah, I want to give one of our boys a little bit of props here at 7,200. I mean, if you're looking on paper as an amateur DFS player, you're probably like, wow, Ricky Fowler, put down the Corona and lime, get the driver out. He's got that thing where he's got the blue blockers on now. He's got the mullet. He's got the style. Living his life, I'm sure. Coming in off some made cuts, and he's got good history here. So, could it be the renaissance of Ricky Fowler this week? Maybe
he was popping up on my model as like number 2 and 3 actually. Him and Jason Duffner was popping up 6,100.
I'll tell you what. You didn't tell me that before, but those two guys do have similar games, like low ball flight off the tee, fairway hitters, decent iron players. Duffner's been a horrible putter, but I mean, look, Fowler, clearly has it somewhere in him. He's the last guy, by the way, to finish in the top 5 in all 4 majors in a season.
Man, wouldn't that just be epic this week if Ricky Fowler pulled this off? I mean, that would be a huge win. I think everyone would be backing him. Everyone loves him. I mean, how can you not like the guy?
Yeah, I mean, remember the Instagram video where he's got the, his girlfriend's laying in the bikini with the thong, and he's got the tea in her butt crack, and hits the tee shot off and grabs the Corona.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man, all day long.
I would love Ricky to win. And Duffner, man, I don't know what's going to... B. Covey's going to be upset that I said that on air because he was trying to have that as a sleeper, Duffner. He kept popping up the model. Let me ask you one other guy because he was popping up with Ricky Fowler and Duffner, Lucas Glover. Now, he kept popping up on my model. Does he fit Ricky Fowler and Duffner's game?
I think, Glover's always been a great wedge player. And, he's a U.S. Open champion. We say that, the take on him never really changes. It's like 17th place or miscut for him. Of course, he hasn't finished in 17th in quite a while. But
23rd of the PGA, man. I mean, that's not bad. 18th at the Valero Texas Open. I mean, 30th at the Masters, $6,500. If he's coming in 13th at the top 30, you're getting paid off there.
6,500 is playable for him. I wouldn't risk big money on him in single entry type stuff. But because he's just such a hit or miss player who hasn't exhibited the consistency you're gonna need to win. Like
a lot of double bogeys out of him here over recently.
Yeah, and I just
well.
wouldn't expect it. I don't consider him a great player off the tee. The flyer of the week, though, you just mentioned him. We're Steel City guys. We're going right back to Brandon Steel City. Flyer of the week is 6,600. Love him as a par 5 player, and 9th at the PGA.
Check out Brandon Steele's stats as well here, man. Let's scroll down. I mean, look at him off the tee. You want to be consistent off the tee. He can hit it far. Gained 7.4 on approach last week, 2.3 the week before, 4.2, 3.1. Those are good irons right there and a good player off the tee. He just can't putt either, it looks like.
Yeah, and you can look at the Arnold Palmer as well, an encouraging finish out of Steele at 26th. I mean, that's an invitational. So again, only 120 golfers with tough conditions, set up for a long style course, and he had a good finish there. He had a good finish at the Players, and he had a good finish at the PGA. So he feels like a very easy flyer of the week this week.
Love it. Flyer of the week, Brendan Steele. All right, guys, that's going to be the show. I know I'm not Edge, the host, but I tried my best. What can you say? Hopefully we gave you some good intel, and hopefully we win tons of money this week.
Hey.
DM me if you'd like. Top players are going to be posted with it. What's up, Wildman?
Final thought from me. If you turn your back on DJ, you turn your back on me.
Oh, man, that's a strong take. That's a strong take. A lot of people are turning their back on DJ. I am no comment. I am simply the host, as Edge would say.
Hey, wait until Elon Musk buys the XFL or something and starts offering, college football players $20 million a year, then what are you going to do?
We'll save that for the college football show. All right, guys. Good luck this week. DM me if you like. Top plays will be posted with the show. We'll talk to you later.